Hi there, also curious about the Stellaris Ancient Relics story pack? Well, I've got you covered. We're going to look at all of the features of the DLC in the coming couple of minutes, and we're going to go into details. Looking at these topics is not enough. We'll delve into the dev diaries and other info from Paradox to see if this interests you. Furthermore, we'll go into the details of system requirements, the price. Well, you can see the price here is $9.99, and what coming soon means in this case. Let's go. First, let me give you an overview about this. What they say is uncover the ruins of long-dead civilizations in Relic Worlds to piece together the story of their rise and eventual downfall. Mine their derelict cities and ships to unearth the truth, discover powerful relics and harness them for your empire's ambitions. Now, what does this all mean? What are Relic Worlds and what are relics? Now, relics and Relic Worlds are connected to the new mechanic they're adding to the game in the free patch. That is the Archaeology mechanic, where you can find archaeological sites and explore them deeper. So it's a deep mode of exploration, contrary to the rather wide mode of anomalies. Why is it deep? Well, among other things, there are more events to have, there's deeper stories to explore, and you can only look for ancient relics and archaeological sites in your borders. The main way to find relics and relic worlds is probably through the new and old Precursor quest chains, and they're adding more and more relic worlds to all the old quest chains of the Precursors too. Look at this picture. You can see it's a desert landscape and everything. So what are these relic worlds? These are home to the deepest archaeological sites. They are a host of events, great stories and game-changingly powerful ancient relics as well as epic stories. 20 of these relics that you can find on the Relic Worlds and also in the game have been especially added for the DLC. There are other relics though that are available even if you don't have the DLC but only have the free patch. For example, defeating the Unbidden would grant you a relic. Like defeating any of the endgame crises would grant you a relic, and the older Precursor chains at least probably also have relics in them now. That is not all though, that is to Relic Worlds. I mean, if you have done all the archaeological work on a Relic World, or also if you don't have, you could say no, just restore it to an ecumenopolis. You can do that before, after, just like you want. It will lose its unique deposits and archaeological site if there is one. You can also find these Relic Worlds and have great consequences from that. And with the DLC, you will have access to 20 of these special relics and the story chains connected to them. And they can be very powerful. As you can see here, for example, we have the Pretherin Brood Queen. Activation cost 10,000 food. There's always an activation cost. There's passive effects. In that case, Society Research plus 30 per month. And an active effect that has a cooldown of 10 years. In this example, breed a small Pretherin fleet. And there are some special events added. As you can see here, the Moon Base. That is also added through Ancient Relics. Ruins of a large base complex of some kind can be found inside a large crater of this moon. Must have been abandoned thousands of years ago. The energy barrier that encompasses the nearby planet appears to originate from a source directly beneath this ancient base. And you can see here the excavation log, and that is the chapters you have. You're currently at chapter 1, which means you have the prologue. Once you discover it, you do a first thing with your scientist, and then you have access to chapter 1. You're here in chapter 1, you have a breakthrough chance of 10%, and this functions like the siege mechanic from EU4. Well, that's only something for Paradox veterans. What does this mean? So it means you basically have a couple of rounds that play out, and these rounds are continuously done through time. What you can get in these rounds is either more clues, which increases your probability to progress or get a breakthrough, or you can also have an event or a fallback. In general, you're progressing, which can be seen in this bar, and the breakthrough chance symbolizes that you can just jump directly to completion. Here's another of these relics. It's the Rubricator. Activation cost 150 influence. That's also from Ancient Relics. Passive effects 10 unity per month, and creating 30 minor artifacts. Minor artifacts are a new thing that is introduced with a patch, and that is also heavily connected to the new Precursor chains that you'll get. We'll go into the new Precursors that you will have there in a moment. Just let it be said that there is a lot of chains that now require that you put minor artifacts to them to progress them or to get special rewards. Minor artifacts can also be used in the new mechanic to get some temporary bonuses or general rewards, but connected to these quest chains of the relics and the Ancient Relics story pack, you will have special rewards. And this is how it looks when you discover a relic. Then the next thing is those who came before. Encounter clues about two extinct precursor civilizations, the Baol and the Zroni. The former a sprawling hive mind of plantoids, basically a Gaia thing. The latter some of the most powerful psionics to have ever lived, connected to the shroud, living in the, the culture levels. They have sublimed to another plane from where they can influence still the current plane we live in. Players can investigate these home systems to understand who they were and, more importantly, what one can learn from their demise, and of course gain powerful rewards and a great story. What you can here see is the dev diary on the Baol and the Zroni. You can see here a picture symbolizing the Baol. The Baol organism was once a sprawling interstellar hive mind comprised of trillions of psychically linked plantoids with their ability to slowly terraform a planet's ecosystem and atmospheric gases via centuries of sustained photosynthetic processes. The Baol civilization produced a plethora of rich flora and fauna on otherwise unremarkable worlds. The Baol organism curated lush planetary gardens and arboretums across many systems, forming mutualistic symbiotic relationships with local alien wildlife. That sounds like paradise. And then we come to the Zroni, and it looks completely different. The Zroni were possibly the most powerful psionics to have ever existed, or at least they were the first to discover the dimension which has come to be known as the Shroud. Once the Zroni population reached a certain critical mass, it seems that their collective unconscious minds began to make contact with the proto-Shroud in dreams, leading to mass lucid dreaming. Soon the phenomenon was studied, and the Zroni discovered how to psionically project themselves into the Shroud, where they found that they could manipulate the very fabric of reality with their psionic powers. It wasn't long before the Zroni discovered they could physically enter the Shroud and live like gods, transforming the dimension to suit their whims. And that is where you can see the precursor changes I've talked about from the minor artifacts. In theory, you can unlock some things if you go for one of the older quest chains, the Irasian precursors. The secrets of the Irasians. Here's a special project, delve into the secrets of the Irasians, and then you can see the result, get the secrets of the Irasians, and you can get a modifier for your empire and a small reward. Here, the secrets of the Irasians is very powerful, giving research speed for biology 20% and pop growth speed 5%. Then we have the Relic Worlds. Once filled with teeming life, these Relic Worlds now lie dead, replete with desolate ruins and dormant mysteries. Players can excavate guaranteed archaeological sites in these worlds to explore these remnants and bring to light powerful relics and artifacts. So, we had a look at the Relic World, but there is more. And that's the mechanic. Mind you, the mechanic is added also in the free patch. Here, in the next DLC, you'll be able to experience some new content related to uncovering and excavating archaeological sites. They can be discovered in multiple ways, be it either on survey, generated at game start, or perhaps generated by an event. Sites that lie inside your borders, and that's important, can be excavated by a scientist. You can see here. It will consist of several different chapters. A site can have 1 to 6 chapters in addition to an introduction and prologue. Each chapter will have its own narrative and a reward, and has to be unlocked before it becomes visible. That is the mechanic. Basically gives you status quo or some kind of progress or a breakthrough. Then you can keep digging. Chapter is completed here, and you can move on to the next chapter. And at the end of each excavation phase, it's also possible that the scientist triggers a random event which will inject some unpredictability and create opportunities for emergent storytelling. And of course, it's fun. I mean, you can be attacked by robots. How is that not fun? Your scientist could die. Is that not... I mean, I think it's fun, but it could be frustrating too, but there has to be a little risk for some excitement, right? Then we have Dig In, hit the dirt on a variety of enigmatic and alien worlds with more archaeology sites available for your empire to study or plunder. Each site begins a story with between 1 and 6 chapters to investigate, retrace the history to discover artifacts and relics that can be boons to your empire. We had that already. And let it be said again, 20 relics added through Ancient Relics. but there are more relics added, at least 1 or 2, I think, depending on the expansion you have already. I think there's at least 1 per expansion that can be uncovered too. We have the Matter of Artifacts, that was about the minor artifacts system, a new resource type which can help empower one's empire. We've had that already. That can give you temporary boons or some things to unlock or help with the tech, all kinds of things like that. There's also these tiny things that they have changed some traits, as you can see. This guy is now an archaeologist, and archaeology excavation speed goes up by 25%. There are also some changed traits, but they are connected to some other changed traits, especially for the governors, but they are connected to the 2.3 patch only. So there's this one very important thing I wanted to play to you. It's about not owning the DLC, but you can use the archaeological stuff and the relics with the mods.
The content, written content, is a part of the Ancient Relics.
So if modders want to use the system, they can use it, and people can play with their mod without owning the DLC. But if you want what we created, then you are going to have to get Ancient Relics.
So as a conclusion, who should buy the Ancient Relics story pack? Well, a completist or a super fan like me, definitely gonna buy it. Well, it looks good. I'm curious about the 20 relics. I'm playing a lot of Stellaris. It's clear, definitely. If you're a super fan, it's clear. But what if you don't have all DLCs? I still think you should go for expansions first. Once Relics comes out, there will be a lot of reductions in prices for the older DLCs, and for example Utopia is a great one. Synthetic Dawn is also a good DLC to have. Apocalypse is definitely great to have. Buy these first, they are at reduced price then. For example, Leviathans. I could imagine it's 50% reduced when Ancient Relics comes out, so use this opportunity to get stuck on the old DLCs. If you're though a story nut, if you really like stories, I can really see you. And also if you have a science heavy playstyle, then Ancient Relics could be a very, very good addition to your game. I mean, it's something that you dive deeper. So it basically adds exploration on a level that is not done by anomalies, but that is done by more archaeological sites and deeper relics and these event chains. And that makes it possible that you can also have good exploration with rather a tall empire by going deeper. At least that's what they said in the stream. I'm hoping that this promise holds true. I mean, it seems to me that it does. So all of you that are really interested in the science aspect of this, because you will send also scientists there, you'll have a very good time buying the Ancient Relics story pack, more so than, for example, Leviathans, where you basically hunt down monsters. Yeah, that's also cool, of course, but if you're like more of a developer of great research advantages and enjoy that part of the game more than the warfare, then the Stellaris Ancient Relics story pack is for you. So that said, who should not buy this is probably the people who play Stellaris most for the warfare and things like that, or just for like sociology development, or because it doesn't add new buildings or something. It can definitely help your empire then, but to be honest, you will be able to win without it, of course, with the relics without it. There are some relics that are probably overpowered, at least at the start in there. It's all in all, it's about the fun of uncovering the stories and having these great new relics work for you, because they will also looking for the scores if you like to do the new score win technique and achievements connected to that. The relics will also deliver a great amount of points for these things. So all in all, do I recommend it? I definitely recommend it. I think it's going to be good, and I think with Daniel Morigard you have a change in the lead developer. And in contrast to Wiz was like a visionary, and Morigard is more like he makes the impression of a deep worker. And there's a lot of happening with the 2.3 patch, and this also seems very well integrated. Wiz has added like great outlook, the grand scheme of things, but it often was too much to cope for at the start for the Paradox team. This seems like well balanced, and I have the impression it could work instantly, so it will be very satisfying to play that. Then there's another thing. Who can play that? And we'll go to the systems requirements. As you can see, the systems requirements are a little bit lower on Windows and Linux. You can go from a relatively lowly old AMD that is nearly, I think, 8 to 10 years old now, with a RAM of 4 GB. That's, I mean, you can look where you want here. You need a 1 GB graphics card for it. That's very affordable. And now if you look at Mac, you need 4 GB, I think. Where was that? At least by recommended is 4 GB of RAM with a newer generation of processors and stuff. So Mac, Linux, Windows supported. If you have a working PC, desktop PC, then it will be for you. If you have an older laptop, you will have to look at this. It's basically nothing more than the base game. Then it's coming soon. What does that mean? I mean, coming soon, if they're announcing it and it's coming soon and it's a smaller thing like a story pack, then coming soon usually means 3 to 5 weeks for Paradox. So it's going to be quickly there. All around that, do I recommend this? Yeah, well, the Ancient Relics story pack is something that excites me a lot about this game. It is adding stories on a level that is not like endless space. It's not a mandatory thing. It's like a thing you can choose to have. It's a thing that can happen randomly. It's a thing that integrates into your story. Rather than you playing a story, you can, with this story pack, enhance the story of your empire. And that's the fun thing about it. So, what do you think about this new expansion? We can tune out with the announcement trailer. So let's just tune in there and have a little look.
We studied the heavens.
Thank you for watching and happy gaming to you.
Hoping to find
This is Immanuel signing out. Have a great time until next time. And happy gaming.
Only now is it clear that all that time we were looking in the wrong direction.